So good morning, everyone. Again, I invite you for this lecture series, and I take this as a very glad to introduce Anshul ji for immediately accepting my invitation to deliver this talk. I'm sure that this is going to be very exciting for all of us, students, faculty, and other people in the industry to understand the challenges, at least from the perspective of civil engineering, in building the smart cities from the policy side. So this I'll take it as an opportunity to introduce Mr. Anshul Gupta, who is IAS and currently serving as Executive Director of the Ujjain Smart City Limited, and he's also Commissioner of the Ujjain Municipal Corporation. And he did his graduation from IIT Kharagpur and later pursued PGP from IIM Bangalore in 2012. He joined IPOs in 2016, and then he got All India rank 18 in UPSC exam and again joined IAS. Prior to his current posting, he served as SDM and Chief Municipal Officer Jabalpur and CEO Smart City Jabalpur and Assistant Secretary Ministry of Road Transport and Highways Government of India. So in addition to his vast experience in public policy formulation and law enforcement, he possesses extensive experience in investment banking, consulting and heavy engineering, having held key positions in various multinational companies including Goldman Sachs. So with this very brief introduction, I welcome Anshul Gupta for giving this talk. It will be very, I'm very thankful again from my Indore student chapter of IGS. Thank you so much. So you can start your session.
Thank you, Nilima. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
First of all, thanks, and I feel very honored that the Indian Geotechnical Society has invited me for this. And many thanks to all the esteemed audience and very senior professors and industry veterans who are giving their Sunday 1 hour or 2 hour to me. So I feel deeply honored. That's a disclaimer. Nilima is a good friend. So whatever she is saying, you can always take it with a pinch of salt. So civil engineering, I think it's a very important thing. So I am an electrical engineering by training. And during our training for civils, our training for job at the academy in Missouri. So one of the very senior officers told us that a civil servant must know 3 things. And those 3 things are law, microeconomics, and civil engineering. Because most of the work which we do revolve around these 3 domains. Either we are framing something which is a law, or we are devising, helping in formulating policies which involve microeconomic principles. And there's a heavy amount of construction involved, given that India is a developing country, and we are trying to provide infrastructure for the development to the industry as well as public. Geotechnical, I'm at a bit lost to understand, because when I went to IIT Kharagpur, we had a geology department, and so I think that was itself a revelation after having studied geography in school, and and it's very wonderful that today we can join like all over India. We can communicate via this, because I remember in my IIT days, Skype used to be a very new thing, and when recruiter used to take interview via Skype. So smart city mission, I will directly come to the topic. So smart city is a concept started by, please load the presentation. Smart city is a concept propounded by our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, when the new government came in for 2014. So the idea was to give a new paradigm of development to the cities. And Ministry of Housing and Urban Development is driving this initiative. And it is very different from how usually government schemes operate or how the planning is done. So it is not a top-down planning, which used to happen, or which happen in various government schemes. And city level governance has been given a kind of freedom and autonomy to decide what kind of projects they want, and how do they envision, how do they see their cities growing in future. And there are some broad parameters and broad guidelines have been set up, keeping in mind Indian development conditions. So like wastewater, air quality, drinking water, solid waste, and pollution and energy management are the few fields on which smart cities, smart cities are supposed to work on. And progress have been a mixed bag. So like some fields and different cities have done differently. So that I will discuss in subsequent slides, with a special focus on what Ujjain is doing. Next, please. So like this is how I would like to discuss these topics. What's the concept? How did the government of India floated this mission? What's the strategy? what are the key components, and there is something called SPV, a special purpose vehicle, which is the cornerstone of the scheme. And how are the projects executed? And a very important thing which smart city mission has, which normally is lacking, is asset maintenance, because once you create the asset, it is very important that the asset is maintained and it's replaceable. And finally, we will both.
Anshul, sorry to disturb you. Actually, slides are not moving and they are not in full presentation mode.
Okay, we'll just check it. Which slide is visible now? It's concept
first
of
one only.
First
yeah,
one.
First one only. Yeah.
Okay. If you have the presentation copy, can you run it at your end?
Yeah, I can do that. 1 second.
कर दिया होगा आपने, वो वैसे भी उन लोग वो रहते ही हैं ना यूपी के पढ़ाई में अच्छे।
Can you see my screen then?
This slide, what's new in smart city? Right.
So second slide, right?
Yeah, second slide. Introduction.
Yeah, sure. I'll operate then.
Yeah. Next, please. Yeah, next slide, please. उसको करने दो लड़की को.
Is it fine then?
Yeah. That's seeing their screen, right?
This is on leading thoughts on smart city.
Okay, fair enough. So I will run this. So like this, just you know what different concept of smart city is there. Next, please. So what's new in smart city? Are we on this slide? What's new in smart city? Yeah. So the new thing is. Yeah, कुछ तो कर लो ढंग से तमीज से यार एक चीज. So actually, Nilima, I am somehow not able to see, so I will just confirm with you which slide you are on. And I will,
sure. It's in like new in smart city.
Yeah. So basically, the new thing is how the SPV has been formed and how citizens have been given power to run it. And another good thing is that kind of platform has been made for all the cities, and each city has been granted some fund. And so basically, instead of doing based on population, which happens in many other schemes, there is extensive use of IT, and there is a competitive platform. So like every month, ministry releases rankings of smart cities on various parameters. How are they utilizing the fund? What is the progress? So kind of competitive environment is built, and cities are pushed to do better. And there's a unified platform where each smart city can see what other smart cities are doing. So some kind of learning from what your peer are doing happens. Next, please. So as I mentioned earlier, so main focus is on how to gel all these things together, how to improve the mobility, how to improve the environment, how to do the smart governance, smart living, which will involve your sewerage, water supply, electricity, housing, citizen safety, smart and quality of life. And there is an effort to converge different government schemes. So like Pradhan Mantri Awas and replacing your old electrical infrastructure by new LED lights and new roads and new sewage infrastructure. So there are many things which maybe smart city is not driving, but it is acting as a converging authority. Next, please. Yeah, so basically first part is institutional infrastructure to drive down the activities. Second part is physical infrastructure, which we all can see that, roads and sanitation and supply. And third part is very important because without this third part, the second part is meaningless. So how to improve the soft aspects or the capacity of the populace of a city. Next. So one very important thing which was introduced in Smart City Mission was the area-based development. So in every city, typically old city part or the a part was chosen, And that part was chosen for the redensification or redevelopment, and retrofitting of the infrastructure was planned, because in many cities the infrastructure which we have right now was planned or executed during maybe pre-independence or in early years of independence by either Britishers or by the princely states. So that infrastructure, especially the sewage and the road network, is insufficient to meet the needs of the current population level. And then there is something called pan city initiatives. So mostly what we call smart governance and how we can harness ICT in governance, be it intelligent traffic management systems or be it smart metering in the electricity consumption as well as water consumption, and multimodal transport systems, and CCTV network in the entire city and crime monitoring via that. So those pan city initiatives where you heavily rely on technology and try to make the service delivery more intelligent, less costly, or more effective. Next, please. So city selection was based on the on population and how the cities presented themselves. So more or less, many big cities, most of tier 1 and tier 2 cities across India have been selected. So like in my state, Madhya Pradesh, there are 7 cities, Indore, Bhopal, Gwalior, Jabalpur, Ujjain, Satna, and Sagar have been selected for the smart city. And the idea is that, because this is right time to develop this tier 2 and tier 3 cities, so that the pressure on the metros and the megapolis is reduced. And there were different rounds where cities submitted their proposals, and on the basis of this, they were selected. Next, please. So it's just a dashboard which I have taken pulled out from the ministry website, Smart City Mission website. So like there are 100 cities and there are 5,000 projects which are right now going, and it's a huge investment. So as you can see, there are 2 lakh crores which have been committed for these projects. And the whole race is like, how many of them have been tendered. So you can see 1,89,000 was the order issues and completed. So completed we can see is less, but I think within next year, because it's there is this cycle of projects. So I think within next year, I think we should be able to see 80 to 90% completion of the projects. Next, please. So this SPV, which is a new kind of concept on city level, and SPV is executing it. So these SPVs are having full-time CEOs and nominees of central, state, and ULB, and it's a very autonomous body which has been given power to plan and execute the projects. So it is not hampered by the usual, delay which happens in government departments. At the same time, it has the benefit of experience of people at all the levels, central, state, and local level, and it can also involve experts from private sector. So SPV has been really useful because our speed of execution is very fast, and there is a dynamic decision making, which is normally absent in various government projects. Next, please. So as just mentions, how we would execute the project, and for project monitoring, most of the smart cities have hired PMCs, which are reputed consulting firms, PDMCs. So the idea is to have a handholding mechanism via which the capacity gaps, which are normally in the government departments, can be addressed. Next, please. And the very important part is asset maintenance. So for asset maintenance, while operating the project, asset maintenance is one part which is to be paid attention to. And for that, most of the projects have been formulated where O&M of 3 to 5 to 10 years, depending on the asset, is inbuilt in the program. There is a huge focus and huge emphasis on PPP mode, so that the risk capital allocation from the SPV side is reduced, and more projects can be undertaken with less capital. Next, please. So I will now come to what we are doing in Ujjain. I'm not sure how many of the in the audience have visited Ujjain, but I'm sure almost all of you would have heard about Ujjain. So what we see is the famous Mahakaleshwar temple, which is one of the 12 Jyotirlings. And this is the lighting which we have executed over there under the Smart City Mission. Now, the beauty of this is it's a LED lighting project. And the electrical consumption is a fraction of what we used to do earlier in those old halogen kind of lightings. And of course, it's a sight to behold. So Ujjain is like one of the ancient cities in the world, almost as ancient as Kashi, as we call it now, Varanasi. And it has many credits, many firsts to its credit. So like Vikram Samvat, the Hindu calendar which we all follow, owes its origin to the Ujjain. Ujjain is city of the famous poet Kalidas, and the Indian median line. Like now, all of us follow GMT, the Greenwich. But as per the Indian astronomy system, the line over which all our calculations are made passes through Ujjain. Ujjain is also site to Jantar Mantar. So Jantar Mantar in Delhi and Jaipur are very famous, but there were originally 5 Jantar Mantar, what we call in Hindi a Vedshala, observatory, I would say it, astronomical observatory. So there were 5 of them. Only Delhi and Jaipur survived, and other 3 were in Kashi, Mathura, and Ujjain. So they were destroyed by Mughals and Britishers at different point of time, but we still have remains of them. So it's a very ancient city, and it is also one of the 4 cities where the 12-year event Kumbh happens. Now that Kumbh is called Sinhast here because in all other 3 cities, Prayagraj, Haridwar, and Nasik, the Kumbh happens when the zodiac sign is inside Kumbh. But in Ujjain, it happens when the zodiac sign is Singh. So that's why it's called Kumbh in all those 3 places. But here it is called Sinhast. Next, please. So this is a panoramic view of the river Shipra and the ghats over it. So basically, smart city because Ujjain is a city based on religious tourism, and we have a very huge floating population. So like our own population is around 7.5 lakhs, but every day we have around 50 to 60,000 visitors from different parts of India and neighboring states. And on the occasion of festivals, this even rises to 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs. So a city with such a large floating population and which depends mostly on the religious tourism is bound to make efforts to how to make this infrastructure of religious tourism better and how to enhance its capacity. Next, please. So we were selected in the round 2, and so stage 1 challenge, we became 21st in the second round, and that's how we got into it. Next, please. So this is the ABD area, like old city area, which we have chosen for the area-based development strategy. It's mostly around the Mahakaleshwar temple and around it. Next, please. Nonsense slide. So PAN city initiatives which we have taken are based on ICT. So citizen services, we have a very nice app, 311 app, where all kinds of citizen services can be accessed and applied for by the citizens. And then we have a integrated command and control center, which I would say hosts all the applications and makes data flow from one application to other. For traffic management, we have put up RLV cameras in all the traffic junctions, and they're controlled from a centralized command and control center. And waste management, we have a door-to-door collection mechanism, and we monitor it, and we are also processing all our wet and dry waste. Next, please. Next, please. So this is the very prestigious in our showcase project. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to develop the area around the Mahakal, as we call it. So just like Kashi, we have acquired land around the temple. And what issue most of the temples in ancient Indian towns faces, how to manage the devotee load, because there are bottlenecks in the access and exit area. So those bottlenecks are tried to be addressed in this project. And we are trying to create a space where capacity to handle the devotees increases manifold. And in addition to that, we are creating facilities for the devotees, be it in terms of resting places, kiosks, visitor facility centers, better roads, evacuation by e-carts, and various bridges and roads. Next, please. Yeah, so this gives a bird's eye view of the whole project. And I would like to take this opportunity to invite all of you to visit Ujjain. This is like under execution, and we hope to finish it by June 22. So after that, I think this is really, if not the best, I think this would be the best or one of the best religious pilgrimage sites in India in terms of infrastructure available. So we already have a museum, Triveni Museum. We are creating open air theaters. We will have a zone where the devotees can actually come and what we call, like what we have in West, that experience the place. So apart from doing darshan and doing the rituals in the temple, they can also have an exposure to the rich heritage and culture of the city Ujjain and the associated concepts of Indian religion and mythology. Next, please. Yeah, this is like one of the projects which we are doing. So now coming to the technical part of it, like I'm not a civil engineer, so maybe I will be lost to understand, lost to explain to you in what exact form you desire. But as I mentioned earlier, that there's a huge part of civil engineering involved in day-to-day administration. So like when we make these kind of structure, for example, this pond which we are making. So there used to be an ancient water body over here, which is mentioned in scriptures also. And with time, the land was encroached and that ancient water body disappeared. So now it was planned that we will try to revive it. So then we have to like when we try to dig, we actually find that there is a water source. So there is one task to locate from where the water is coming. And I think here the geotechnology plays a very important important role. And then we have to determine that how to regulate its function. So basically during rainy season or when water is more what we call in Hindi avak, like the arrival of water might be more. And thirdly, we have to also ensure that existing drainage network and this natural source of water should not intermingle with each other. And how do we recycle this water continuously so that it remains fresh and there is no bad odor? And the construction which we do around it should not hamper the water movement or should not hamper the natural beauty of it in any way. So these are, I think, the broad parameters around which our architects, planners, and civil engineers have to work. Next, please. So this is once again new technology. So we are using this FRP, I think fiber reinforced plastic, to make the statues. So what we see in this picture are Saptarishi, which we are making. So the traditional stone sculpture takes time, and it's not fragile, but it's very susceptible to the wear and tear. So as a substitute to this new technology which we are using, this new material which we are using right now, and in a way it's a value engineering because it gives the same look and feel as a stone sculpture, but at a fraction of cost and faster to make as well. Next, please. Yeah, these are like some of the pictures of the plaza and the Lord Ganesha statue at the entrance. Next, please. Yeah, so these are like under construction phases, and just to give you an idea of the scale and expanse of the whole project. Next, please. Yeah, so this cladding, stone cladding, we are doing on the walls surrounding the perimeter and how they will look in the night. So if you look at the old ancient Indian temples, most of which survive in South India, so you will see that around the temple periphery, different pictures or sceneries or imageries from the mythology and public life are engraved. So that kind of concept is being tried here. And what we are trying to do is that there will be an audio video guide associated with all these images and sculptures, because most of the people are not even aware that what they are looking at, what is significant. So in a way, it's a kind of exposure to the our ancient Indian culture and mythology as well. Next, please. Yeah, this is one of the pictures. So this is our visitor facility center where we'll be creating a facility for the devotees when they arrive at the temple complex, and where they can put their shoes and their belongings and get registered, because there is a security aspect as well, and they can rest and drinking waters and toilets and other facilities. Next, please. Yeah, so what we see on right top is Navgraha Vatika, and down is the whole pathway which is under construction. And here we plan to use e-carts, so that it's environment friendly also, and in a way to promote EV vehicles and to maintain the traffic. Next, please. Yeah, this one is Nilkant one plan. So it's one of the land on the one of the main roads which we had acquired, and we are trying to, because it's near riverbed. So this is also one of the aspect, I think, which will interest civil engineering this is not the Mannat Garden area, na? The Mannat Garden wala nahi.
No.
Acha, this is the other one. Yeah, so here basically what we have tried to do is that we have tried to integrate a parking space, a resting space, and plus the landscaping in a single thing. So I think this is something which is interesting from the civil engineering and architecture point of view, because these are the needs in such a public infrastructure, that you just don't create a bare parking, because I think it is aesthetically ugly, and secondly it does not address the requirement of the people visiting. So here we have the parking as well as the sitting space and plus garden area, because I think all the construction and all the development which we do should have as per norms, 30% or 40% green space. So those kind of things we have tried to follow here instead of making concrete jungles. Next, please. This is one of the very interesting projects. So we have a very old age Maratha style architecture around like 200 years old, what we call Dharamshala. So because this was a Maratha territory, India's territory, and now that building had been converted into a school. So now we have shifted school, and so this old building we are trying to preserve it, but as a functionally how we can make it make use better. So we are now trying to make it a heritage Dharamshala, or we can call it a hotel cum museum. And IIT Indore is associated with it because we took help of experts from IIT Indore for the structural audit of the building. Next, please. This is also one of the interesting projects. So there used to be this old pathway from the river ghat in Chepra to leading to Mahakal. And I don't have old picture over here, but this was covered in bushes and by the soil and mud. And during digging, we discovered it, and then we tried to revive it. So this also we plan to hope to finish very soon. And this is one of the pictures, which it shows that how the work is going on. And once again, same. We are trying to use the old material with which it was made. So like we are not doing any cement, concreting kind of thing, and the old filling material of lime and mortar that we are using. So I think that is very interesting thing which technical experts working in this field should think about, that these kind of buildings are strewn all over India. And as we go ahead, as we progress, and we are more aware about our ancient culture, and we try to revive this infrastructure. So how we can revive this infrastructure, and with more environment-friendly materials, and actually with the materials which were used in olden times to maintain their, glory or their past form, and so that current generation can connect with them. And this is very important from an engineering point of view, I think. And you call it civil engineering, or you call it like geotechnology or whatever, because the kind of structures which were made in ancient times and without the help of, say, heavy cranes or heavy machinery, and these are the buildings which survived like so many 100 years. So those kind of aspects, I think those research is also not much there. And I am also from an IIT, but that kind of research is not happening at IITs, or maybe public is not aware about it. So what were the structural elements which or technologies or skill sets which were being followed by our ancestors, and how not everything can be copied, or not everything is effective or applicable in today's environment. But I think there must be some good in ancient knowledge, which I think which should be preserved and remembered and celebrated. Next, please. Yeah, so this is like one of the water bodies, Rudrasagar. So there is a thing that all the pilgrimage sites and all the old temples, they used to have, and they bound to have a huge water body near them, which will have multiple functions. It will be used for drinking water. It will be used to get water for the deity, and it will be used for the bathing purpose by the devotees. And after we started having municipal water supplies after 1950s or 60s, gradually all these water bodies lost their importance in the mind of public, and citizens started using them as dumping ground or encroach upon them. Now with the concerns about climate change and about the concerns about sustainable development, once again city planners are focusing on these kind of water bodies. So I think this is also one of the issues, or one of the areas where technical experts like this society, other society, should focus on, that how do we revive these old water bodies. And all these water bodies across the cities, across the towns in India are facing 2-3 issues. One issue is huge population pressure. So like we have, I think, quadrupled our population in last 75 years. So there are like quite a good number of people, living in the same land. And then because the population has quadrupled, there is a requirement of drinking water, and then there is generation of the sewage. So that sewage should not go directly or untreated in these kind of water bodies. And it's a very sad situation that most of these water bodies have very high BOD level, or even the marine life inside them have dried. So few water bodies can be undertaken by cities under smart city missions, or at the hood, yeah, at the as you know, because they are marquee projects. But I think if various bodies are revived, and it's very wonderful. Like we are doing one project on the step wells inside the city, and as we tried to uncover various step wells, we actually saw that there used to be a huge underground water network earlier, and they were connected, and they were connected in such a beautiful fashion that when there is excess of water during any season, water will flow from one level to other level, and one boundary or one well will recharge the other. And when there is scarcity of water, some kind of very nice engineering and reverse flow will happen, and all of them will have water. So these kind of networks which are there especially in the cities which are not riverine cities, and on the cities in Indian plateau, I think those should be studied by our experts in water engineering, or geography or geology. And that would be very wonderful to understand how these infrastructure were planned in earlier time. Next please. Yeah, this is once again, so this is kind of modern development. So we are trying to, because normally what we see in our cities is that the road is made, and after making the road, after 6 months, the water supply department comes and it digs the road to lay the water pipeline. And then after another 6 months, the mobile company comes and it also digs the same road for the laying the optical fiber. And if this is not enough, after 6 months, the gas company comes and it also digs the road for laying the gas pipeline. To address all those kinds of issues, for the new development, we are trying to create the smart roads. We are giving the ducting and leaving space for all kinds of future developments, linear developments, so that the road is not dug again and again. And plus, these roads have ample walking space and cycling space, so that going forward, citizenry can move to this environment friendly aspects of transport. But one very important part which I would like to point out, that this kind of roads are very costly, and as opposed to national highways where you can have toll and you can try to recover the cost of the road with time from the users. Intra-city tolling is not right now prevalent in India, and it's not right now possible either. So we need to think about modes of development, because simply on the government funding, maybe possibly we can't make all the roads in this kind of smart roads with ductings, around. Next, please. Yeah, so this is our riverine ghat, and one very important thing which I learned or discovered while being involved in these projects is that river ghat is a very unique Indian concept. So first of all, rivers are gods, I think, not in many civilizations. Indian civilization is very unique that we worship rivers, and river ghat is a very unique concept. So you go to China, or you go to Egypt, or you go to Babylon like Iraq, or you go to European nations. So rivers do have important places in their civilizations, but none of those countries have typically a concept of river ghat. Where steps around the river, and steps around river is such a nice concept that it's a public place. So basically, public can come here and it can indulge in all kinds of activities, be it religious, be it secular, and in that way, it's a very egalitarian concept also. So I think that is the reason that all our cities, especially riverine cities and religious places, have ghats. So developing these ghats is a kind of what you see in, if you go to European cities, public plazas, or the places where people come and congregate and various kind of activities happen. So I think the river ghats had similar role in our ancient life, and that is what we are trying to derive here also. Plus, there is a very utilitarian angle of enhancing the capacity of to handle the number of devotees, or what you call crowd or people also. Next, please. Yeah. So this one is there are some different temples also in Ujjain. So we are trying to enhance the area, circulation area, how they can handle more population, more devotee population load, and how to maintain the green cover also around. This Kal Bhairav temple, I would like to mention, this is a temple where Lord Shiva is offered alcohol as an offering. So some of you might have heard about it. Next, please. And this is a kind of compulsory part of development nowadays. So we are planning to have a light and sound show also here. And once again, like depending on the new technologies, be it in laser or be it water screen and all those things. Next, please. Yeah, this facade lighting. So the very first one which we saw in the first slide. So on the top right, we have Mahakaleshwar temple. On the left center side, we have some two other temples. And in the bottom side, we have a tower choke. So all of us might have seen those Ghanta Ghar or those tower choke or those clock tower across the cities, across many cities in India. So they have very interesting origin, which also I discovered while working on these projects. That in British time, they used to set up these huge clocks in the main city thoroughfare. And that is how most of our cities have got this tower choraha or tower clock or clock towers in the cities. So they are a very important part of the city life, and it is important to revive them and rejuvenate them. So that is why we have taken the lighting projects on them as well. Sorry, next please. Yeah, this is just a picture of how the temple looks now. And of course, we are using the dynamic thing. So we have synced the sound with the light. So when the sound changes, the light also changes colors as per it. Next, please. So we are also developing some gardens across the city in the pan area city development. Because having public spaces, secular public spaces where people can go and relax themselves is very important for the mental well-being of the population. Next, please. Yeah, this is one of the projects which I was mentioning to you earlier. So this is a very nice Baoli, and all of us have seen the photo of this Rani Ki Vav in Gujarat, or this Agrasen Ki Baoli in Delhi. And if you see the first one, we call it popularly Modi Ka Chopra. And I think in its scale and in its expanse, it is no less than those two places. And our failure or shortcoming has been that we have not been able to project it on a national consciousness or promote it, advertise it as much as other places have done. So these are the few pictures of different water structures, old water structures, which had gone into disuse. And I think with the help of remote sensing and with the help of geotechnological advancements, it will be very interesting to see how these water networks used to operate and how they are connected and how they can be revived. So right now we are like trying to do desilting, and we are trying to dewater and clean them. But I think more technological interventions can be done, and which will make this intervention sustainable. Next, please. Yeah, this one thing which we are trying to do is a SCADA. So basically, traditionally, the water supply is that we take water from the river or from some water source, and we pump it to different water tanks inside the city, and then we pump it to the households. But monitoring of the water supplied and water quantity and quality in a smart way is happening in metro cities, but in not many cities. So it's very important to have the idea of how much water you are pumping in the city, and this will help not only in reducing non-revenue water, but it will also help us in going for the metering of the water, because right now it's a flat metering in most of the cities. So once we have the water metering, we can actually, because once it's metered, measured, monitored, and charged for, the citizenry is encouraged to use it in a judicious way as well. Next, please. Yeah, these are some of the school complexes which we have made. So these are government schools, mind you, these are not private schools. And the whole idea is that, as I mentioned you earlier, the human development is also important in this. And I think in this lower picture, you can see that on the roof of the school, we have solar plants. The solar plant, the effort is to make this building a zero discharge building. So we have put vermicompost, and we have put wastewater STP, as well as we have put the solar plant. So it's the idea of to make a smart school in the true sense of terms, coupled with the smart classes. And the last 2 years, COVID experience, when the classes moved to the online mode, actually, validated one that this e-learning would be the way going forward. So this kind of thing should not be reserved only for the students in private sector, but the students in the government sector should also get benefit of this new concept. That's the idea behind this project. Next, please. Yeah, this is one of the other schools, and I think in terms of hard infrastructure, this is no less than the best of the private schools around. Next, please. This is the smart classrooms. There is some disturbance, I think. Somebody can mute their mic. Yeah. So these are the smart classes which we have implemented, and this have proved very useful in universalizing the access to education during the COVID times. Next, please. Yeah, this is the ICC which I was mentioning earlier, and this is a very game changer intervention, because earlier different departments and different places used to have their own IT intervention, and they used to operate in silos. So after making this ICC, we are first of all making data flow from one application to another application. And I won't say machine learning or AI is happening right now, but at least we are making intelligent decision making and different use cases based on using these different modules and applications at a single place, hosting them on a single server. I think this is a very good infrastructure creation, and during COVID time, we made very good use of this by real-time monitoring of the bed availability, by dispatching oxygen as per required, and quarantining the patients, and giving them very fast information about the testing results and vaccination. Next, please. Yeah, this is a incubation center. So all the smart cities are also attempting to, because in big cities, like we don't have many IITs and IIMs across. So the places where there are no IITs and there are no IIMs, so smart cities are trying on their own to give a space where small ventures and startups can have a space where they can incubate themselves. Next, please. This is a very important project. So this project was attempted to have a what I would say democratization, or access to technology to all. So in different public parks, we created the small spaces where we put computers and electronic gadgets, and students who would normally not have access to the computers or electronic gadgets could come there, and I would say play with them, fiddle with them, and use them. And of course, and also access to all the information and material which is available on the internet. So I think this is something which is very replicable and at a very low cost. And as going forward, it will help in reducing the gap between those who have the access to the technological wonders and those who do not. Next, please. Yeah, so this is like I mentioned you about the smart road earlier. So these are the, this is how our smart road looks. So if you see in the top left, so there are different ductings for different kind of public infrastructure, the stormwater draining, the electrification, the optical fiber network, the gas pipeline, the water supply and sewerage. And above it is the road. So the idea is that, once you make this road, it is not to be dug for like many years, and different issues which we see that roads are waterlogged during the rainy season, or, the infrastructure mapping is not there. Those things we are trying to address by making this smart road. So I think these are actually smart road in a true sense of the term. And I would invite the esteemed members of the Geotechnical Society to visit these projects and give us inputs, suggestions, and feedback on these kind of projects. Next, please. Yeah, this just shows the cross section. So, where is the storm water drain, where's the gas pipeline, where's the water supply, where's the overseas ducts, and electric chamber. So there is logic behind why we are placing something on the inside and something on the outside. And then how do you access them when you have to do repair maintenance work, or when you have to replace them or dig a new line. And I think this is what because there is a issue of logistics. So in the new developments, in the new colonies, and in the outer area of city, this can be done very easily. But in the old areas where development is already there and there is huge population and usage pressure, replacing the old infra with this new infra is tedious, and it has to be planned in a very meticulous way. Because there is huge disturbance to the regular public life for the few months when you are laying this infrastructure. And this brings us to the question that, what is our speed of execution? So I think this is where we need to learn from China, that once you start a project, how much time you take to execute it. Because apart from inconvenience to public, the kind of costing it entails, direct and indirectly, when the project takes time to execute. I think it's significant, and we need to have a kind of a discussion, and we need to have a kind of understanding of that also in our public and development discourse. Next, please. Yeah, this is how those road are looking now. The bottom right picture shows when it was happening, and these three pictures show after the work. So I think the greenery is less because like plants which we have planted will take a few years to grow up. But I think this is the best of the world-class infrastructure which we are trying to provide. And mind you, our city is a tier 3 city, not even tier 2 city. And I still believe that, this is the right time to create this infrastructure so that these cities become, they can springboard on the development journey, and they can become places where new ideas and new industries and new business can come if we provide them the right infrastructure. Next, please. Yeah, this is the solar power project. So all this infrastructure which we are creating, and because it will have huge energy needs, so we have integrated the solar power with it, so that these projects are energy neutral, and they don't have much operation. They have much operation cost in terms of at least electricity going forward. Next, please. Yeah, this is the ITMS. I think many cities have implemented this, and this is a very important project because having two police constables on a road who are humans, and they are liable to get tired, they are liable to get missing attention, is not a very efficient solution. Plus, they are exposed to the pollution, and plus they are exposed to the traffic as well. So having those cameras which don't get tired and which have memory which can be retained and which are ever vigilant is a very smart way of doing things. And these cameras and these junction interventions are useful because they also have video screens which we are using for different kind of public messaging, and they also have audio systems which we do use for different public announcements. So this is one intervention I think which is very useful, and which helps in improving the citywide governance. Next, please. Yeah, this is like as old intersections, old roads which are there. So how to make them better? So improving the circulation and making the circulation more green, and trying to remove the traffic light, or trying to remove the junction. And we have to do all these things under Indian conditions, with all the issues which we face typically. So we can't do things like they happen in China. So keeping those things in mind, we are doing this development. Next, please. This is very interesting. It's a biomethanation plant. So we have this agriculture mandi, I think in every big city. So all the residue which comes from there and all the crop waste which we get. So right now it was going to the dump yard, and by this biomethanation, we are trying to generate CNG by this. And next plan is to use this methane and CNG which is generated to use it either for the domestic cooking purpose, or if it in case it's CNG, use it for the city public transport. So this is also, and there can be two models. One model could be that where you have a huge CNG plant, and then you take all city waste in terms of like to the tune of 100 tons, 200 tons to that plant, and they can have huge capacity reactors to generate the CNG. But other model could be that you have this small biomethanation plants strewn all across the city, and wherever you have a sabji mandi or the vegetable market, be it retail or be it wholesale, use its residue over there. And this is one area where I would urge all the technical institutions to do more research, because right now also the technology which we are using is German technology. So I think more research and more initiative is needed from our technological institutes to see how we can use and how we can process our waste in a scientific way, and how to make it more usable, and what happens after that. And I will use this forum to invite any of the researchers who is interested in demonstrating some technology, or doing some work in this field. And so I would like to welcome you to join and do research on this, or try some new technology that how we can use this wet waste to generate methane or CNG, or like sky's the limit, what we want to do with it, instead of just dumping it. Next, please. Yeah, so this is one thing which is one of the keystones of smart city mission to promote cycling and walking. But there are challenges which I won't deny, which I won't shy from admitting, that making these zones and after that ensuring that they remain free from encroachment by vehicles and by push carts and by people is a kind of a challenge. And secondly, it is also very important that cycling habits are to be cultivated in the populace. So, like when I used to go to IIT, like Kharagpur, everyone used to cycle. So inside closed campus, people use cycle. But given the Indian climatic conditions and our aspirational mindset that people associate cycling with you being poor and having a two-wheeler or four-wheeler with you being rich. So unless that thing is changed, I think even after creating this infrastructure, we might struggle to make its optimal use. Next, please. This is a very nice intervention, which is very useful in the terms of women empowerment. So to have the lounge, especially lounge boy for ladies, operated by ladies staff, and plus there is facility for toilet and baby cares. So these kind of facilities we have created at the bus station, at the railway terminus, at the main markets, so that a safe space for the women are created, and safe space with all the amenities. Next, please. Yeah, these are like one few of the other infrastructure which we created in terms of swimming pools and sports facilities. Next, please. Yeah, sports complex which we are creating. So as I mentioned that despite being tier 3, we aim to create this infrastructure for the populace, so that this is the right time to create infra, so that in our journey from tier 3 to tier 2 and then tier 1, we have all the infra which we need. Next, please. Yeah, it's just a few pictures. So I think once again here also the role of civil engineering or geotechnology is very important, because these structures are supposed to last for like next 50 years or so. So doing proper testing and ensuring that they meet all the requirements, especially stress testing and stress testing and reliability testing. So I think that's very important part of the all these kind of projects. Next, please. Yeah, this is one of the yeah, this is just the plan area of the swimming pool scheme. Next, please. Yeah, these are the water tanks. So new water tanks which we are trying to develop, because there was a time when municipal infrastructure of the water supply could not keep up pace with the demand enhancement, and people resorted to a large number of bore wells. And many households right now in almost all Indian cities have their own bore wells or tube wells. But now we have exploited the groundwater so much that water is we have reached to the levels where that water is not very useful, and the kind of pH it has or the kind of chemicals it has is actually causing disease. So now from the affluent areas of the cities which had kind of dissociated themselves from the public infrastructure, public utilities, now they are demanding that we need the water pipelines, because the water inside our bore wells is not very useful, and it's causing us all kinds of skin diseases and causing irritation and stomach diseases. So I think this is one thing from which we can't shy away. We have to have public infrastructure, and public provision of the public utilities is I think is the better solution rather than private provisioning. So for that, we are creating this network of the water tanks across the city, and this is also kind of development which we are undertaking in the smart city mission. Now, one thing which I think we should all think about, that there's huge space at the top of these water tanks and below this, and I think there should be ways where we can make better use of these kind of spaces. This is something I think which our planners and our architects and our civil engineers should think about, that how we can make better use of these assets. Next, please. Yeah, this is where I think all these parts of creating a good impression that we are doing so many great and good things ends here. So no citizen of Ujjain is right now here in this presentation. Otherwise, they would have given you a critical honest assessment of what we are doing and what we are failing at. But this is Sunday, so I think I can feel good about myself and my organization. So yeah, it's open to question now. Was I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah.
I'll just stop the screen share. So thank you so much. It was complete project. You put it up in 1 hour, and I can see a lot of changes in the last 2 years that happened in Ujjain. I could not visit. So just to inform you, there are a lot of things are happening in the lab scale at IITs, in other departments and civil department also. So only problem is your lecture will help us to link what we are doing it, because we are here at the lab scale, and because that smart watering or monitoring thing, what you said, it has been funded by Government of India 5 years back. We have the complete system ready, and I was the PA of the project for both quality and quantity monitoring when I was in Hyderabad. So, but after that, it is at the lab level. We don't know where to take it up and down. So this is, of course, this your talk should help all of us. Along with me, our colleagues are from other departments are also here. Dr. Vipul from electrical engineering is here. He is heading the department. And my colleagues from civil also here, who is working on waste management. Ashutosh is there. Priyank Sharma, he works on water and drainage part. So we'll be very happy to interact with you even in future. So if there is so now it's open for QA session. So can I request participants, if you have any thing to express?
Chat.
Kindly put your question either in chat or just unmute and raise your hand, whatever.
Ma'am, may I proceed with the question?
Please.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Anshulji, it was a very good lecture. Myself, Dr. Priyank Sharma from Civil Engineering Department, IIT Indore. So it was a very good presentation and really mesmerizing the way the transformation is taking place, and it will be very. I am very eager to visit soon. When you told it will be completed in June 22. So my question basically is that the river Shipra is passing through the Ujjain city. So while modification in the infrastructure and all, are we considering that the natural path of the river Shipra first is not distorted? Because nowadays what we are seeing that due to encroachment on the floodplains, the flood problem is aggravating in many rivers. And secondly, how the water quality of the river is maintained, so that due to this all anthropogenic changes and all, the river remains aviral and nirmal. So these are my two queries, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Prin. So first part is that natural flow of the river is not being disturbed. That we are ensuring, and these kind of mistakes used to happen I think in 60s and 70s during development journey. But now there is better awareness among the planners. And as you rightly mentioned, the floodplain level. So there are various Supreme Court guidelines and Ministry of Environment guidelines, under which any construction around the I think 300-meter, 100 meter from the riverbed are prohibited, be it government land or be it private land. So that those regulations have helped us a lot in controlling the construction across the riverbed. Shipra River is a special case because it originates from Indore and it finally meets Chambal in the rural parts of Ujjain. But its water quality has been poor. That's a fact. And the reason has been the complete industrial belt which is there in Indore. So what approach has been taken in last few years is creating STPs. So Indore has done a wonderful work in Indore district has done wonderful work in creating STPs. So Khan River, which is a tributary to the Shipraji, it meets just before the boundaries of Ujjain. So whereas STPs are there to treat the water which is going inside. And in Ujjain, what we are doing is we are laying a citywide sewage network. I think that slide was not here. And in addition to that, right now, whatever nalas which we call or the stormwater drains which are meeting in the Shipraji. So because in last Singhas itself, we had developed a system where we tap that water and we pump it out via pipeline to outer place where we kind of oxygenate it. And we have a treatment plant, and there the BOD level of water improves, and it's actually used for fishing and by the farming by the farmers. But I think there is a need of real-time water monitoring of the water level at different places, and there are gaps in the tapping of sewage water because after the Indore city there are various villages. So I think there are few gaps which government is trying to address.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your answer. Thank you.
Dr. Ashutosh.
Yeah, ma'am. So
You raise
first,
your hand.
I would like to compliment. I mean, I literally liked your presentation, sir, and the way you presented. I guess mostly like 99% things are cleared. I mean, because normally it happens that we just speak. However, through the pictures and everything you showed, right, the information right from that why it is called Sinhast. I like that thing because generally a person gets to know that thing after reading some literature, some books. But in single line, you told that thing was amazing. Apart from that, it feels literally good to see the transformation which is being done under your supervision. However, as I saw that about solid waste, you said that you people practice those things. I mean, wet waste, dry waste, and all. Apart from that, I think there are different laws which have been framed in our country, and I think proper enforcement of those laws can make our cities as well as our country smart. However, we have planned this initiative like smart cities, a very nice project which you are doing there in Ujjain. I'm thinking, did you people have planned of any some decentralized plants or decentralized waste treatment facilities there in Ujjain? As you said, the migrating population. I mean, daily you have visitors of around 50 to 60,000 people visiting there, and the rituals that these people perform, is there any specific treatment for processing this nirmalya or the flower waste generated there? As I can remember earlier, I had submitted a plan to ONGC under CSR projects for Jagannath Puri temple there. We had developed a plan in such a way that the flower waste can be treated in some manner, as well as the daily municipal solid waste which is generated, which can be treated in another way. So do you people have this kind of facility there in Ujjain?
Right. Thank you, Dr. Ashutosh. So this presentation didn't mention those things. So right now we have, since last 2 years, we are operating a facility where all the nirmal or all the flower offerings which are made to the god in Mahakaleshwar and other temples is collected, and we make agarbatti and dhupbatti out of it. And we give them to all the visitors. So like when you or the team visits here, we would like to gift it to them. And now the challenge in that is because from the temple itself, because the offering is huge, so it can be collected economically. But when you think about small temples, so how to collect it economically remains a challenge. But right now we are using the nirmal to make the agarbatti and dhupbatti, and the entrepreneur, it's not, the government is not doing it, and entrepreneur is doing it, and he's making it's profitable venture for him. And if you also have a technological solution, I would like to invite you to use our incubation center, and we can set up a small demo thing, and we can try to commercialize that technology as well over here. Second thing which you mentioned was about the first thing which you mentioned was about the decentralized waste processing. Now this remains a very big challenge in the Indian conditions, because nobody likes a waste processing facility in his backyard. So a place where, first of all, the land in cities is scarce, and they are not because this kind of processing facilities require first a place for the collection and then processing. So first of all, that kind of land is scarce, and if any new facility one tries to set up in Ujjain and in other cities, the local population is like just rises up in the arms. So those kind of challenges are there in the political economy. And in most of the cities, what is happening is the waste of city is being taken out of city limits, and in some rural area and in some area where population pressure is less, there it is being processed. So that is the model which we are also following. So we have like around 100 door-to-door vehicles which go to all the residential areas twice in the day and collect waste from them, which is sent to something called transfer stations. So we have 2 transfer stations. And once again, here also a question of public awareness comes. So Indore has done it wonderfully, that citizens are, giving waste separately, dry and wet waste. Here we have not achieved till it 100%, but there is a good percentage. And after that, from the transfer stations, this waste goes to our waste processing facilities, where we treat the wet and dry waste differently. So our RDF is taken by the cement plants which are nearby, and then we create fertilizer from the vermicompost, and CND waste, the construction demolition waste, we use it to make the paver blocks and other things. So the 100% conversion right now is not there, but conversion is there. Now here the challenge is, which once again, because this is a very august forum, So the technologies which we are right now using, which we are using and other cities are using for these kind of waste processing, be it wet and dry. So these technologies need to be more efficient, and they need to be more commercially viable. So I think that kind of once again research and that kind of handholding from the technology side is needed for the local bodies, because we don't have that kind of expertise and that kind of wherewithal. So I think this is an area where your society and other technical experts across the country can help us.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, sir, for this input. I mean, it was very much crisp and clear, and you covered almost every aspect, right from construction and demolition waste till this dry and wet waste. And I would like to ensure, rather tell you that we at IIT Indore look after. We are thinking of taking technology from lab to land, and we are trying that how to do maximum outreach activity and to reach up to the common masses so that the problems of the society can be solved.
So we are not very far. I would invite you to visit here and just look at what we are doing and then propose some better solutions.
Sure,
Yeah, this
sure.
talk is
Thank
just
you.
for connecting that. It's helping because our department is very young, and we started 5 years back at IIT Indore. But a lot of dynamically activities are happening. And so I think your talk will help all of our faculty also to get connected. So that's another motto of it.
And I would like to mention, like, I will just interrupt Nilima over here. So many of you might not know, I was SDM Mahu earlier. So the area where the IIT Indore lies. And I used to always complain to your earlier director, Mr. Mathur, and the interim director as well, that the whole idea of establishing IITs in different states of India and different parts was that those states should also benefit from IIT being there. So
Right.
I always have this grouse that, IIT Indore being there, the neighboring populace should get the benefit of it being there in terms of technical solutions. So I look forward that because we have given huge forest land in Simrol for IIT. So in that return, we should get something, right?
No,
Right,
sure,
right.
sure.
Yeah.
Professor Preeti? Yeah, Professor Preeti, are you there?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Professor Preeti is a professor in humanities. She works on the water, sustainability, etc. Preeti, you have something?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta, for such a wonderful presentation and such a comprehensive one. So I have questions from the economic feasibility perspective or from the governance perspective. So my first question is that since all of this infrastructure that is being created will fall under kind of creation of capital assets, so how is the plan being made, or are there any plans already there, or studies have been already done regarding how these will be maintained? What will be the economic feasibility of the recurring expenditures which are going to happen? And because see, you have shown us so many of those creation of kids area and swimming pools and better bus stops and all of those. So all of that will cater to public. So have we already planned for a mechanism to
not clear.
Charge, or how are you going to go about that?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Preeti. It's a very pertinent question, and it is an issue. So I would like to point out that many of these are public assets, and the capital investment which happens in these assets. So I think government is not looking to recoup the investment. Capital investment, I won't call it sunk investment, but it is I would say infrastructure development. But having said that, the cost of operation and maintenance of these assets remains there. And that cost ideally should be generated by the asset users or by the local body. So if you see, there are two kinds of assets. One is the religious assets, which we are developing in and around Mahakaleshwar temple. So we already have a temple management committee, and it runs the facilities inside the management based on donations it receives from the pilgrims and devotees. So all the assets in and around temple would be handed over to the temple management committee. And those slides mentioned that we are also developing some commercial areas and some shops in that whole Mrida corridor. So these shops would be sold. We have valued them around 20-25 CR. So they will be sold or they will be rented out. and money coming from them will be used for the maintenance of those assets, plus the solar panels which we have put over there. Now the secular assets like the pan India, the pan city assets like gardens and sports complexes and other things which we are putting over there. So of course, one part is a user fee, but user fee will not cover the entire cost of maintaining them. So these assets will be handed over to the municipal corporation, as is the practice around. And this issue is there, I think, in right now in Indian development journey, that there are tangible and intangible benefits out of all these assets, be it garden or be it open spaces or be it sports facilities. And I think, as you mentioned, you're from the field of economics, so all those tangible and intangible benefits, I think, have not been measured in sense. So there may not be directly monetary payments to the body which is maintaining it, but there are impacts on the well-being of the populace. For example, if there are open spaces, and people can come and relax themselves, crime will reduce, or the health benefits would be there, or we might see some sporting development in future. So those kind of values, which are difficult to measure in hard monetary terms, are still not there. So like as I mentioned in the very first few slides, that smart city has a very important aspect, that asset maintenance is very important and it is being catered to. But do we have like 100% financial closure that all the maintenance costs which we have closed them, that how 100% cost of maintaining them would be covered? So I would say no, we are still behind that goal.
Okay, all right. Yeah, thank you so much. And my next question is that you did mention about the traditional water systems, and that was, I mean, that was very interesting. And I would like to know that you have already said that you want technical intervention in revival of those systems from our institute. But in addition to that, I wanted to know that can these systems also be expected to contribute to the water needs of the city, or do you think that that would be, or are there? I mean, is that in your?
Yeah. So they, if I understand your question, so actually they can be, and we do the kind of heritage study of all these water sources. So we interviewed and we documented the local sources, interviewed the local people around it, and the old people will tell us that 30 years back we used to use this source, or 40 years back during summertime when everything will dry up, this well will still have water. But gradually, as I mentioned, that once the municipal water supply started happening and the borewell technology became very cheaper, these sources got into disuse, and the waste dumping started, so water did not remain usable. And like the very first water structure which I showed, the Modika Chopra. So like we, as a municipal corporation, we have to supply water to various gardens in the city for the various public toilets and for cleaning of the various ghats. So after dewatering and cleaning this particular Modika Chopra, we have set up a hydrant over there, and that water we are using for our gardening purpose. So there would be water which will be potable, and there would be water which will be non-potable. But based on my experience, I would like to say that it's basically up to the community, because if community ensures that there is no garbage dumping in these water bodies, and community ensures that there is no construction or illegal encroachment over the various tributaries to these water bodies, because those the watershed is maintained, then only these water sources can survive. So government authorities can do a one-time intervention and clear things. But then after that, if in few years the local community encroach once again and doesn't try to maintain the asset, then it will once again meet the same fate. So that kind of public awareness and our respect towards the old our structures, and this economical, because right now we are pumping water, like Indore is getting water from Narda, which is very far. We are taking water from a dam. So there is cost involved in pumping that water, storing that water, and then pumping it again to the households. So if every locality or every community has its own local water body, which can meet, if not entirely, which can meet part of its needs, that will be a real decentralized development paradigm which all of us imagine. So I think that is one area where everybody needs to sit together and brainstorm and do some work.
Can we think of having some regulatory system there? Because see, all of us know the problems of common property resources. So, and once in a while, government may keep coming and say revive these systems and all that. But then gradually the degeneration would start. And so can we also have can we plan or?
So as ma'am, you rightly mentioned common property resources. So I think a few years back, some Nobel Prize also was given economics on the same concept.
Yes.
So based in India, the common property, like we have experience of resident welfare associations. They try to maintain something. We have water users committee in rural areas. We try to maintain the irrigation water. We even in the city sides, we have water user committee of the municipal borewell or the well which are there. We have even tried to form garden maintenance committees. So the experience is mixed across the cities and based on the asset use which we are planning. So academically, like it's a good discussion, but I think in ground more work need to be done, and I think community needs to take a lead. And like government or urban local bodies will be very happy, if community participates. But I think right now community is not very interested, or is those kind of mechanisms or those structures are lacking where they can take ownership of these assets, because there are two aspects. One aspect is financial aspect, whether the community is ready to spend the money to maintain the asset, and second part is a managerial aspect that the whole the task of doing it, controlling it, regulating it, because the regulation I am a strong believer that regulation has to come from the community, because we might have laws and rules and regulations, but logistically it is not possible that we put staff at every water body, that anybody who throws garbage has to be punished. It can be, technology can help us, CCTV cameras can help us, surprise inspections, or those kind of things can help us. But basically community has to take, like you rightly use the word, common resources. So community has to take ownership. Authorities can give a helping hand, but unless the community takes ownership, the maintaining these assets will be a very costly affair.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Gupta. Thank you.
Yeah, Sanchit.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. So my name is Sanchit. I am doing my doctorate under Professor Sandeep Chaudhary at IIT Indore. I want to talk about the biomethanation plant that you said, and you said that you will request proposals over it. Sir, actually, our research group is already working in that direction. And when we have observed that the waste coming out from biomethanation plant in the form of supernatant liquid requires a lot of cost for the treatment so that it can be safely disposed into the environment. But if we use it in the cements and concretes, it usually helps the strength of the concrete, and it can be turned in from economic liability to a commercially viable product. So if you will be interested in like allowing us to collect the waste, secondary waste from the biomethanation plant, and
I will be more than happy, Mr. Gupta, and like I use this opportunity and this forum to invite you, with open hands, and you are welcome to come and do all kinds of experimentation and use it.
yes, definitely, sir.
So I think, we'll compile all the things from our end, at least from civil department, and I'll send you that so that, if there is anything where we can get in.
I will interject here, Nilima, if I may say so. So I would like not to be in silo mentality. Don't think from civil point of view only, right? You think from all.
Yeah, no issues. Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's why our faculty from electrical humanities, many of them are here. So some of them are here, even Aditya on Sunday. So thank you so much. If there are no other questions, then we can close the session for today. Okay, Dr. Sanjeev.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. My sincere compliments to Dr. Nilima and the team for arranging the talk. And it was a wonderful talk, Anshul sir. With your permission, may I ask you that from a civil engineering point of view and from the earthquake point of view, the OSHRs, the overhead service reservoirs, they are slightly discouraged, for the water supply point of view. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, so right now the water supply in Indian cities is mostly over a tank based. And if you see across not only the public water supply system, but even the, you would say, the big townships or the big complexes, they also have overhead water tank on their tops. And there is a cost of, pumping it. So the idea is that once we collect water in the overhead tanks, we do the gravity-based pumping. So that reduces the cost. And there is a issue which we have right now is that user pays. So like we are not able to recover the full cost. Like we are giving people water to people at 60 rupees per month, 100 rupees per month, 150 rupees per month. So I think that is one of the major reasons why the gravity-based pumping is being done right now. So that is why I mentioned about SCADA and gradually moving to the water metering of the water usage. So once we are able to meter the water usage and we are able to levy the real user charges, I think then the cost of pumping water electrically to all the levels will be covered. Second issue is that most of our development is a very old development. So these old water bodies, various ponds and wells and step wells, they were supposed to cater to the public needs. And in our haphazard development journey, we destroyed them. So now we are depending to the municipal water supply. It's a very Russian style model. So now these cities, especially old cities, so they are situated at different gravity levels, different habitations at different levels. So keeping those things in mind, as you rightly said, this is not a perfect solution, but this is the solution which is economical given the current conditions, and all the cities are following it. Secondly, Ujjain is, I think, there are various earthquake zones. So we are not in that hazardous earthquake zone. Third thing, which from public infrastructure point of view, which we do is that all these water tanks, so they all have good amount of area left around them, and no residential construction is allowed below them or near them. So from that point of view, if any unforeseen consequence happens when this tank collapses or something happens, so I think the loss of public life I have not heard of till now, and it usually doesn't happen. So that kind of very rudimentary risk management is being done from the public planning point of view.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate, and my best wishes.
So if there are no more questions, any questions from UG students? Okay. So I assume that there were no questions. So thank you so much again. And it was very wonderful lecture. I thank all the participants also. So now it's over to Lakshmi. Lakshmi is our undergraduate student coordinator. So
good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of IGS IIT Indore Student Chapter, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Mr. Anshul Gupta IAS for readily accepting our invitation in spite of his busy schedule. Thank you, sir, for your enlightening as well as inspiring lecture. I would also like to thank all office bearers of IGS and faculty members from IIT Indore and other institutions for joining us today. We're extremely grateful to Dr. Nilima Satyam, without whose initiative this lecture would not have been possible. I would also like to thank all participants and students for their active involvement. Once again, thank you everyone for making this lecture a huge success.
So just one more thing, we invite you again, whenever you have time, please let us know so that, we can have a more interactive session so that we can get involved with whatever the activities or projects happening. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you, everyone. So we are closing the session. Thank you.
No.
Thank you, everyone.